Setting boundaries was by far one of the things that has helped me most with finding true self-love, prioritizing myself and putting myself first. It's something that we're often afraid to do because we feel like we might just piss off other people and we might get rejected or get them mad. But setting boundaries is so important. It's basically a superpower nowadays because nobody really knows how to set boundaries anymore. And today I just want to explain to you how I learned to set boundaries, how to set boundaries and why they're so powerful and why they help you so much. So I feel like when it comes to boundaries, there are two key words that you should take into consideration. The first one is no, and the second one is stop. So I'll give you two examples about this. When somebody asks you something to do that you don't really want to do, you don't really want to participate in it, or you don't really feel like doing it, then this is where you set the first boundary, and this is where you use like the first word I just said, which is no. And you let them know that just simply you don't want to do it because you shouldn't live in a way that you want to please other people but put yourself behind them or below them, because that tells your subconscious mind that you're not worthy enough, you don't love yourself enough to put yourself first. You always have to put other people first, and you have to get validation from them, or you have to kind of please them so you can like feel like you're loved. But that's really toxic, and like I've said it before, I said it in so many different videos, that I believe everything should come from within. So I don't really seek love and validation in external sources anymore. I give myself these things, and so I don't put other people before me, right? I myself, I think I'm the person that deserves the most love from myself, and that always deserves to be put first. Because if I don't do it, nobody else will do it, okay? Like maybe my mom, but I think that's a different discussion. I think like basically your parents will always put you first because they just love you. I want to give you an example where I set this boundary, where I said no. I'm working currently for a company that kind of specializes on different services, and one of them is kind of the service where you have to work in restaurants and stuff, and you have to kind of be like the waiter, you have to carry around food and stuff. And I just recently worked a very long shift, like 11.5 hours, and I did two things here where I set my boundaries because I didn't feel like I was treated properly. And the first one was that when I looked into the times I had to work, it said I have to work 10.5 hours with only half an hour of rest, and that's actually not even allowed by the law. Like once you work more than 9 hours, you have to at least have a rest of like 45 minutes. So what I would do, I hit up the person that is responsible for me, and I said that I don't agree with that, I don't think that this is right, and I want to have more rest. And she was kind of like, yeah, okay, you have to talk with the guys who are working for their stuff, but still I think this was very important because I didn't shy away from setting a boundary. I wasn't scared to just communicate what I wanted to communicate, my wants and needs, and therefore I set a boundary. And like actually when I was there, I could just rest in between, so I probably had a little more than half an hour, and I also got like some extra pay and stuff, so this was fine. But just to give you an example, right, I could have just stuck through what it said to me and not questioned it, but I'm not in this state anymore. I'm not like just a person who obeys the orders, and if people of authority tell me you have to do this because I tell you this, I just strictly obey. That's not who I am anymore. When people do something that I don't agree with, that I don't like, I will let them know, because as I said before, I have to put myself first, and I always want to put myself first, because as I said, this video is about setting boundaries can help you with self-love, and you really want to love yourself, you always have to be the first person in your mind, okay? You can't let anybody else, especially like your boss or your job, you can't put that before you, because it's just money and it's just a job. You will always get that back, and that's actually what it leads to the second story. Because after working this long ass shift for almost 12 hours, I had to come home, and they actually gave me a really shitty shift just the next day, and I had to be there at like 10:30 and stuff, and I couldn't do that because I was coming home at like 2, and then until I would sleep it would be 3, and so I would like work almost 12 hours, then have less than 8 hours of sleep. I think I've calculated it would be like 5 to 6 hours, and then work another 10-hour shift. And I think that isn't even legal by the laws that decide how much you should work and stuff as well. So I just set my boundary again, and I said, sorry, I can't do that. I can't like just push away my health and say, okay, I'll work 12 hours and then I don't sleep enough and I go there fucking tired. That's not who I am, and that's not my values. And so I just told them, no, sorry, I can't do that. They kind of wanted me to actually do it, but I didn't care, and I said no. I actually got in some trouble because of that, but that's just the person I am, and that's the message I'm trying to convey with this YouTube channel. And I'm not saying that you should all get in trouble with your bosses and like actually get fired from your job, because that would be stupid. But what I do suggest is that you just question the things, your work, and just in general other people, that they do to you and that they want you to do, because I think, as I said before, a lot of times it just seems like authority or like authoritative figures, they tell you to do certain things and actually you don't want to do them. You don't feel like you're treated properly, your values don't align with that, and that's why I say don't do that. And I think the reason why I got in trouble with my work there was because I actually had the guts to stand up for myself, and I think that's something that isn't taught in our school system, that isn't really supported by society, that doesn't make the perfect worker, because what the big corporations would want you to be is like a person that's just silent, that just obeys all the orders and all the things they give to you. But I want to kind of encourage a new I want to encourage a new culture, that you actually stand up for yourself and you stand up for your beliefs and you put yourself first, and you start questioning if that is really right what you're doing, because as I said, after all, it's just some money. And I think that my health, my mental health, my attitude, my peace, just in general, everything that I've worked for very hard to get here, to be in a state where I'm healthy, where I have a healthy body, a healthy mind, where I'm in peace with myself. I don't want to risk that by putting some corporation or some company before me, and so I will question this and I will put myself first. And so that's another important lesson here, right? That you have to put yourself first, and that you also have to have the ability to say stop if someone isn't treating you properly, that if someone is trying to undermine you, and if someone is trying to take away from your mental space, and just in general is not treating you properly, is treating you like shit, you have to say stop. You actually have to call them out on that and say that that isn't how you want to be treated. This also laps over into other areas, right? If somebody is bullying you, if somebody is just in general being rude to you and is not treating you fairly, you just have to have the ability to say stop and to call them out on their bullshit, because you can't allow yourself to get treated that way and not give the other person some feedback, even though it's not like good feedback. It's just that you tell them, okay, you treat me that way and I have actually taken notice of this and I don't like it, please stop. And if they still keep on treating you the same way, then you have to be a bit more aggressive towards them, a bit more violent. And that's also, I guess, why masculinity these days is kind of frowned on, because I think like I have also undergone a journey where I try to discover what masculinity means for me and how to be masculine and assertive and stuff. And when you look at masculinity and these channels that promote being masculine and stuff, they all say that like real men, they stand up for themselves and they, as I said, they question the things that they have to do. And that's exactly what I feel like. I'm being assertive in a way that I will stand up for what I believe in and I will not back down when it comes to this. Yeah, it's just really these two main messages set here: being able to say no and to say stop, to put yourself first, to really realize that you want to put yourself before any money, before any job, and especially for any other person that isn't like a friend or a family member, and even sometimes there you might have to put yourself first. But that's basically the main message of this video, and I really hope I could help some of you and that you understand my points, and that maybe I can help one or two people with bettering their self-love and with being able to set clear boundaries. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and comment so more people can see this video. Write boundary in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.
And when you do, you will change the world.